Welcome back to Heaven and Hell YouTube channel. I am your host, Jojo Tavares, here again with Terri Hutchinson from Anchored Not Anxious. Thank you so much, Terri, for joining us this
Yes.
week. We are talking about emotional health, and this is very different than I've ever heard anybody talk about. So y'all are really in for a treat. This is anticipatory grief and anxiety of pet parents. People
Yeah.
aren't talking about this, so share a little bit.
Okay. Well, first of all, Jojo, have you ever been a pet parent?
I not a parent per se, but when we were kids, I did. I had bunnies, I had turtles, and we had a dog. Yeah.
Yes. Well, even if you listening are not a pet parent, this information can help you understand the grief process of pet parents and make you a more understanding friend to a pet parent.
Yes, love
So,
this. Yes.
so just a little background story. My husband and I adopted Bosco, a black and white terrier beagle mix, at 6 months old from a local rescue. Now, Bosco lived to be 14 years old. And at Bosco's passing, the void of his presence became unbearable as each day passed. And sometimes I thought I heard his paws on the wood floor or a
Oh,
bark from another room. And this is common among pet parents who have lost a pet that whether it's a cat or whatever it is they I, I guess imagine whatever, but it feels so real. Well, anyway, the separation felt cruel and emotional pain seized my heart. So I am adamant that pet love is as real as any love can be, and the cause of anticipatory grief, anxiety, and post grief for pet parents. I mean, think about it. You're sitting at their side, making special food, giving medications, buying special equipment, and paying for therapies because that's what you do out of love.
right.
So, one of the things, Jojo, that's very frustrating for pet parents is that language barrier. It's just you ask yourself, and you even ask them, "What do you want me to do for you?" You know, because they can't tell you,
Right.
and most animals are so stoic about their pain. I mean, just you know. So with that, there's not only heartbreak as your fur friend's life diminishes, there's guilt, indecision, dread, depression, and overwhelm for the pet parent. And so what happens is we pre-mourn, better known as anticipatory grief. So
Right.
subconsciously, we think this is going to ease the hurt and loss to come. But the problem comes into is that if you add anticipatory grief to hypervigilance over your pet, you get pet caregiver burden and burnout, just like you would with a human. Okay. And so, how do you endure the difficult emotional path of anticipating a loss or losing a fur baby?
I want to
So,
stop you right there because
yeah,
one of the things that I think people don't understand, if you're not heavily into pets, if you haven't had a pet for a long time, like I have not, but you don't, or I'm very empathetic. So I grieve with the person who's grieving. It hurts me because it hurts them. But there are a lot of people out there that don't think this is a thing. They don't understand why somebody grieves over a pet. It's an animal, it's not a human. They don't understand that because there is that connection there with that pet, like there would be with anyone else. The other thing I want to share is that anticipatory grief is something I'm very familiar with because my mom died of Alzheimer's. You have years to anticipate the grief that happens with it. So, what I want to share with you all that are not pet parents, you don't have a pet, you never had a pet, or you don't see why that would be devastating to someone. Think about a situation in your life with a person and then emotionally relate with that other person who's going through the same thing with a pet. It's a relationship regardless of whether it's an animal or a person. I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, that's exactly the message I want to convey. I mean, some of these animals live with you for 12, 15, 16 years.
Yeah.
That's a long time that
Some
you
marriages don't last that long.
I know. And you have this presence with you, And when that's gone, there is a true emptiness, a loss. So, I think one of the first steps is grief has purpose, and the grief response is unique to you. Now, like you said, some people view animals as livestock, right? And that's fine. They grew up on a farm. They didn't, these were animals that were had a purpose. They were not a pet. But I think you have to remember that the grief response is unique to every person. So before you manage the emotions, your mind and body have to move through the process, at least in part. You have to acknowledge the grief. And then, secondly, anticipatory grief can be lonely. Um, but sharing your thoughts and emotions with a caring friend is helpful. And I define a caring friend as one who values the love that you have for your fur family member. Be careful who you share your grief with, all right? More than once, I've shared my grief for Bosco and Shiloh only to be told that what I felt can't compare to losing a human. And I say grief is grief. There are no qualifiers. Um, the the I guess the link point there is that I understand grief. I understand your grief. What we're grieving over doesn't really matter.
Right.
So before and after your pet passes, let yourself have grief days. Let the emotions play out, take naps, cry, do the bare minimum. This is going to help you in the long run. And you can join a chat room with the Association for Pet Loss and Bereavement. It's a 501(c)(3) to help you cope with grief. And I will give Jojo the link so you can find it. But the bottom line is don't suffer needlessly. Self-care is important. After several months of hypervigilance, your immunity will be depleted, your cortisol high. And so you need to place a focus on your health to avoid depression and susceptibility to illness. So love is love, whether for human or animal. And let that love live in you along with the beautiful memories you hold in your heart and mind. So, Jojo, this brings us to our challenge.
Yes, so before we get to that, we
Oh,
will put the link, but do tell where they can go. Just
t-
if you can
oh,
say,
so you just Google Association for, I'm doing it now, Association for Pet Loss and Bereavement. As soon as you type Association for Pet Loss and Bereavement will come up, and then you just click on that and you will see that you can chat directly, you can donate, there's pet memorials, education, so much there for you to have at your fingertips.
thank you. I just wanted to share that just here. So we had it. Okay. So our challenge,
So, first, for non-pet owners, all right, keep this information in mind as you interact with someone who recently lost a pet, okay? So that's your challenge to just kind of step back, think about your own grief process, and have empathy. If you are wondering about how to interact with them, and if you're a pet owner, I want you to keep this information on the pet loss and bereavement chat line because it can be a very great help to you. especially if you already have anxiety and depression and overwhelm, you want to be able to reach out. These are people who know what to say that's going to support you. Okay? So that's your challenge, and we'll get that link to you.
All right. And I think that's the most important thing. Anything that you are going through, I think some people can empathize with you more so than others. But if you can get to, if you can talk to people that are in your situation, have been in your situation, whatever it is that you're going through, that is really what's going to get you beyond and give you the help that you need. Talking with somebody like me, I mean, I can empathize with you, but I think talking with somebody who really has gone through what you're going through makes a big difference. So thank you so much, Terri, for
You're
sharing
welcome.
all of that. And everybody, go ahead with your challenge this week. We will be back next week with another health uh, issue and challenge. And Terri will be back next month with some more. Thank you so much.